Here's the question you want to ask yourself. What would this look like if it were easy? Now, this isn't my question, it's not original to me. It comes from Tim Ferriss, and he's used it in all sorts of areas, and it's great for that. But I find it is really helpful for music and getting better at music. So I'm going to give some examples in a second of how you might use this in practice. But first, it's helpful to understand, well, why is this so effective? And a lot of it comes down to the truism that if you want better answers, the first step is to ask better questions. And a lot of what we tend to do is just kind of assume we're on the right path and carry on the way we were going and hope that either it gives us progress where we weren't getting stuff, or we'll get faster, or all those sorts of things. But often what you want to do is see if you can look at things from a different angle. Can you find something that you were missing? Can you find a different way to approach things that will get you either faster progress or allow you to make progress where you'd previously been stuck? And this particular question, what would this look like if it were easy, is such a powerful way of doing that. And one of the reasons for this is we kind of have a tendency to assume that things have to be hard. Things that are worth doing just have to be difficult. And that's really just not true a lot of the time. This kind of puts things the other way around. Rather than assuming this is going to be hard, how can I do it? When you ask, what would it look like if this were easy? You're making the assumption that there is an easy way. And then you're starting from there and, well, how can I find what it is? Rather than, gritting your teeth and getting ready to be, straining and really working hard, you're coming at it from a point of view of how can I find the ease and the elegance? Elegant is a great way to think about this. Where is the solution that is going to be nice and elegant and simplistic and just the easiest, smoothest route, rather than assuming, well, I've got to do it through brute force. And this often reveals ideas and insights that would not have come to you otherwise. There is this assumption that it's going to be hard, but I don't realize that I'm making that. I think it's just, this is just the way it is. So when I ask myself that question, what would it look like if it were easy? It's helping me think of different things, but often it's kicking me out of that, reality and making me realize, okay, I have been assuming this has got to be hard. And therefore, I've been making it hard for myself. But let's look at it a different way. The other thing that it can be really helpful at getting you to do is to think outside the box. Because if you're not finding it easy at the moment to do whatever you're doing, and we will get to examples in a second, if you're not finding it easy, then that probably means that the way you're looking at things, the set of things you're trying to do, is not in the right place. There's something that requires a big shift, perhaps, for you to make that work. And when you're requiring, as part of the question, there's got to be an easy solution to this. What is it? That often means you have to take a big jump, try something completely different. It's a great prompt to do this. And again, our thinking just tends, without us realizing it, tends to get caught in pretty narrow channels. And so when you challenge yourself with something totally different, how would this be really easy? That is often what you need to break out of a rut, to break out of that channel. And if you're finding this video helpful, I would love it if you'd click the like button, and that helps this video spread to more people. So I would really appreciate it if you do that. Thank you. So let's get into some examples of how you might apply this question in practice. And the thing for me that is really great is that it applies in so many different situations, from right down to very, very tiny bits of specific instrumental technique, out to really big picture questions, things that you're grappling with. So an example of a little tiny focused bit of technique might be making a shift on your instrument, a big leap or something like that. So for a guitarist or another string instrument player, might be moving the hand up the fretboard, a big jump. You're finding that tricky, or just on piano or whatever, there's a big leap across the keys. Doesn't really matter what it is. Maybe there's this one tiny thing that you're struggling with. And if you're anything like me, what often tends to happen in that situation is you concentrate harder, you try harder, you're thinking, okay, it's this tricky thing, I've got to push through, find a way to get it. So asking the question, what would it look like if this were easy, takes me into a different space. And see where you go with this, apply it to different problems. It could take you a lot of different ways and you might experiment with all of them. So for me, with a shift, it might get me, okay, maybe I need to be relaxing my muscles. Rather than trying to really tense up and make it work, maybe if I'm relaxing, that's the definition of easy. And how would that feel? It might be around, well, what if rather than assuming this is a hard thing, I just get in my mind, oh, actually this is easy, I just need to do it. And so I'm not stressing about it so much, I'm not thinking about it so much. It might be that I think, well, how would I actually have to move my arm in a way if this were an easy thing? Am I actually making the physical motion in a way that assumes it's tough? What would I do it like if it were easy? Or it might bring to mind people of, well, who do I know who I've seen do this and makes it look easy? Maybe I'll go and look at them. It can trigger a whole load of different things, just different insights, different approaches to problems, different things, both physical in the muscles and mentally in the mind, that are triggered by this idea of, what if it were easy? And you can apply this to anything technical on your instrument or the music you're playing. But let's look at completely the opposite end of the spectrum. What about a really big picture thing? So maybe it is something like you are wanting to achieve a position, playing in a big orchestra, or get into a new band, or form a new group, or something about how you're playing, in whatever genre, whatever area you are, how you're playing with other people, just getting completely new opportunities. And it can be really easy to look at that and go, oh, this is impossible. Maybe it's really competitive auditions to get into this orchestra, and will you even be able to get one? How will you do all the practice involved, all that sort of stuff? Maybe it is you have no idea how to make a connection with this band that you want to become a member of, or something like that. And it can really be easy to get into the mindset of, I just have no idea how to do this. This is so hard. Why will I even bother? But then you ask yourself the question, what would this look like if it were easy? So first of all, for me, that helps strip away all the worries about it. I can easily get worrying about a million different things that might have an impact. But then I think, okay, if it were easy, how would it actually look? I'm wanting to get into this band. Really, what it comes down to is I have to turn up to an audition or whatever it is, or meet with one of them, say, I'm interested in doing this, do whatever they require to give me a chance or give me a tryout, which might be playing some stuff, it might be sending them some music, and then go along and play with them for a bit. And when you put it in that sense, you take out all the, well, maybe I need to do this, maybe I need to do that. Take out all the worries about, is this possible? You're literally just thinking about, well, what's the easiest thing it could possibly be? You suddenly often realize that actually they don't have to be 100 different steps. There is perhaps maybe just one, 2 or 3 step thing that if you could get things working, that would get you there. And could be the same for any other goal, whether it's trying to play a really complicated piece that's way beyond your current ability, or all sorts of things. You can just think, well, what actually is the minimum number of steps to get there? And then you think about, well, how would that be made easy? So, for example, I want to get into a band. Well, I might assume, well, I've got to go to an audition and I've got to, have them notice me for some reason and be playing, so maybe they have to wander into a gig that I'm playing and I look amazing on stage and they think, oh, wow, I really want to play with Mark. But there might be easier ways. What happens? Do I know someone that they know who, they respect? And maybe this person could just say, you should check out Mark sometime. He's a great player, something like that. Can you imagine how that would smooth the path, make things much easier? So may or may not be possible, but you can start to think about, okay, what are the things that could happen here that make this process much easier? And it could be about things that you can do to, in this case, get in with the people you want to impress. It could be about assets you already have or people you already know who could smooth the path for you. There may be a million different things. But again, when I come back to this question, it sparks ideas that otherwise I would not have had, I might not have explored. So that's the next thing that I want to say. I do recommend that you just come back to this question again and again in the future, in a whole world of different situations, whether it's tiny little things you're working on, whether it's big picture things, because you will find that it sparks different ideas each time. And for me, again, all those thoughts that I've had about how this might help you get into a band or join an orchestra or something like that, maybe they're not relevant, maybe they don't work in this case. But when you think about, well, what would it look like if it were easy? That is often going to give you ideas, some of which will work and some of which will make things much easier. So it's just amazing what happens when you keep applying this thought to different problems, or when you apply it to the same problem and you suddenly find yourself seeing it with fresh eyes. So I hope you'll find that useful. And for more simple things that you can do to make a big difference, check out my video on 3 things that the top musicians do differently next. And if you'd like the special practice and performance tips that I only share with subscribers, then head on over to playinthezone.com and sign up for the emails. They're free. I've been Morley-Fletcher. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.